just welcome everyone here and turn things over to Rocky Mountain Power. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, Jana Saba with Rocky Mountain Power. I believe you all know me. Today I have a couple of folks with me. I've got Jeff Baumgartner, who is the Vice President of National Security and Resilience out of our DC office with Berkshire Hathaway Energy. And then I also have Joe Paul, who is the Assistant General Counsel and for Privacy and Compliance with Berkshire Hathaway Energy. So Jeff is going to take us through the slides today that I sent earlier, and I would assume that they are posted to the website. But for purposes of sharing and advancing the slides, how would the commission like to handle that? Oh, can you guys hear me?
Yes, your
okay.
audio is coming through. I'm just checking to see if the slides have been, so the slides have been distributed and they're available on the commission website and were emailed around. You're also free to use the share screen function if that helps the presentation.
Okay. So Jeff, why don't I go ahead and just share my screen, and I can advance the slides if you want to just let me know when you'd like me to move. There's not that many of them, so it shouldn't be, sometimes I'm challenged at doing this well for some reason, but shouldn't be too terrible. Give me a minute. And I'm not, hopefully I am able to share my slides or my screen. Oh, yes.
And it appears that Jeff is having a little bit of technical difficulties. He's going to try to call in. So his voice, he can't hear you, Jana.
Oh, okay. That's why I thought nobody could hear me, because he messaged me and said, I can't hear you. So I thought I said that whole spiel on mute. So we'll just give him a minute. He did tell me earlier today that he was having problems. He was having some internet difficulties, so we might end up needing to let him call in.
This is Dave Clark. I want to just confirm I can hear Jana and Joe.
Okay, good. It's a problem on Jeff's end, I think.
I'm only doing that because I'm usually the one with the technical problems.
Yeah. Well, it just seems like it can't. You can't have a virtual call without someone having a technical problem. I think it's just par for the course.
That's right.
But while we let him,
can people hear me now?
Yes, yeah. We can hear you now. Is that you at the 202 number?
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, DC.
That's all right. We're happy to have you. I'm just going to see if I do that. Are you all able to see the slides maximized on the screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see them.
Okay. So Jeff, I think it would be fine if you want to just do the presentation without your video. I will advance the slides, so just let me know where we're at right now. I'm just on the title slide, so I'm just going to go to the first slide.
Great.
Slide 2.
Yeah. And again, apologies for being tardy there. Everything works fine, 10 minutes ago, and now nothing's working on the internet. So just introducing myself, my name is Jeff Baumgartner. I'm the Vice President of National Security and Resilience Policy at Berkshire Hathaway Energy. We support PacifiCorp and Rocky Mountain Power in some security services and provide some expertise and guidance in others. So just gonna walk you through. Please feel free to stop me at any time, ask any questions you'd like. Happy to try to get into whatever your interests are in going through this. I'm definitely going to focus on cybersecurity, but I will touch on a few physical topics that have been top of mind for us. So apologies for that if we get too far into those issues. So just looking at our chief security office at Berkshire, we definitely have a global focus. Our footprint is certainly broad. Many different states. We're in Canada. We're in the UK, and that allows us some some of the aspects that we'll talk about today in getting the inputs into our system and our process and maintaining a strong security posture. But we do run a global security operations center. It is distributed across multiple companies, but we do have one in Salt Lake that does a lot of great work on behalf of Rocky Mountain Power and contributes to the broader ecosystem that we're going to talk about today. That Global Security Operations Center is responsible for both cyber and physical incidents. It's backed up by our threat intelligence team, significantly connected team to several governments, both classified and unclassified data sources. We're also part of some government programs, which I'll talk to you about near the end of our presentation before opening it up to question. And in that kind of operations tier, we're also responsible for incident response and business continuity. So that's kind of that third, the first of three pillars in our chief security office. The next one, architecture and engineering, is really looking at how to get ahead of the problems that we see in cybersecurity and understanding how we might be able to, as the Department of Energy calls it, cyber-informed engineering, design the problem, the threat, the vulnerability out of the device or out of the system. And so that's kind of what our infrastructure and systems design team does. We also have a team that builds out kind of policies and standards for both IT and OT. And our connection to Rocky Mountain is very strong on this side, and we coordinate a lot of the standards and guidance related to anything from electromagnetic pulse, cyber threats from nation state to hacktivists, and as well as some of the physical issues that we're seeing rise over the last couple of years in the sector. On the engagement and assurance side, so we're all connected in the electricity industry, and we try to maintain a strong partnerships with our peers and making sure that kind of rising tide raises all boats. And we participate in a wide variety of sector programs offered by the Department of Energy, the Department of Homeland Security, and their Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Administration, as well as Department of Defense. So the engagement portion of our pillar really has strong partnerships across the country. The next couple items here, training, phishing, audit, and compliance, and third-party risk management, are ways that we maintain some of our security posture. So we do onboarding training, annual training, and then remedial training. Kind of depends on what security aspect we're talking about, but let's just focus on phishing for a minute. So phishing is still a significant vector for adversaries to compromise networks. We still put a very detailed focus on that. We do weekly phishing tests, and I actually pulled up the statistics this morning. We have nearly 300,000 test emails that were sent out this year to Rocky Mountain Power, and the click rate is 0.13%, which is anything above zero is higher than we want, but still well below industry averages. and we're still pretty proud of that number. And we think part of that is due to the combination of training and phishing, and to some of the policies that we have in place there. Looking at kind of audit and compliance, that's both auditing our ability to maintain the policies that we set forth internally, but also supporting NERC SIP and other regulatory and certification mechanisms that we hold. And then third-party risk management. This has been a significant growth area over the last 2 to 3 years, a significant vector of risk for us. A lot of compromises in the sector recently, even if you're looking at more broadly at just critical infrastructure, have been due to a third party and your relationship with that third party. So thinking about SolarWinds, for example, a network device that many companies leveraged the device, and that company were compromised, and that exposed other risk to other companies that were using it. So we have a lot of controls and a lot of analysis going into who we're partnering with, how we're partnering with them, and what security controls we can put in place to manage that risk. That's a significant area of focus for us, again, over the last 3 years, but also moving forward. We don't see this area slowing down at all, and actually think that there are a lot more opportunities in the third-party risk management program that we can further enhance our security posture. So again, while we have a global focus, all of that is locally managed, and we will continue to leverage all of our expertise across the platform in order to maintain our posture. Can we go to the next slide? So just starting kind of from the outside looking in, as far as cybersecurity, one mechanism that we use is BitSight. So BitSight, if you are unfamiliar, is essentially a credit score for your internet-facing security posture. The scores range from 250 to 900, and the service is really just scanning external ports that you identify and searching for related vulnerabilities or weaknesses or other opportunities that could be used from a threat perspective. We currently have an 800, which is considered excellent. Again, scores range from 250 to 900, but we're very confident in our 800 and pretty proud of that number. Again, that changes daily and hourly sometimes. So I checked this score this morning, we were sitting at 800. It tends to fluctuate anywhere between kind of 790 to 830. So just looking at the averages over the last month or so, wanting to give you guys as much information as we could on that topic. And then getting kind of one layer beyond just this, what's externally visible. If we can go to the next slide, these are just two kind of foundational programs for us. The information security management system. So we have a certification and use a framework for identifying the best courses of action when we're approaching any information security topics, any issues, any development. We have kind of a guidebook for how to build that out and maintain a certain level that gets us that certification. And again, something that not a lot of companies are committed to, and we're very, very proud of our ability to get that certification. But it gives us that foundation to build on. So not just, making sure that we shut the doors on the outside coming in, but even on the inside, using segmentation, using the architecture to our advantage, to where if there was ever a compromise, we would still be able to be resilient, respond to the incident, and still provide electricity for our customers. Another big piece of building our program is our vulnerability management. And that really starts with an inventory of what we have to be able to know when it's vulnerable. People are constantly looking at devices, at systems, at software, and identifying vulnerabilities. I think the government critical vulnerability list has a couple 100,000 now, and most of those have been identified over the last 10 or 12 years. But you can't just apply those, apply the patches or the solutions or however those companies are deeming it necessary to fix that and address that vulnerability without causing impacts. So we have to have plans in place to understand how to mitigate that, how to apply the patch, how urgent it is, and what we need to do in order to eradicate that threat of that vulnerability. And so, just looking at the programmatics and the complications that are found within these three bullets are actually, we're simplifying it significantly here, but gaining that awareness of your devices, leveraging that information to know which ones have vulnerabilities, and then developing plans to mitigate those is a significant part of our program, and does take up a good amount of our time and resources to maintain our security posture. So with those as kind of foundational elements, the other work that we're going to talk about on the next slide is what we call threat-informed resilience. And so because of our partnerships, because of the programs that we're a part of, we do get really great intelligence, both from by purchasing it and partnering with experts in private industry, but also by partnering with our government partners at federal and state levels. So I mentioned our Global Security Operations Center is distributed, and so our facility in Salt Lake actually gets access to and benefits from a multitude of other collaborative centers. So one that we sit in is the Kansas Intelligence Fusion Center. We're also piloting a facility with the Department of Energy called the Energy Threat Analysis Center, and we're one of 5 members doing that work. All that's coming in, and that's great that we're out there and collecting this information, and it's certainly valuable information, but if you can't make it actionable, it's not worth a lot to you, and it's not worth a lot to us. So, we want to be able to apply that knowledge to looking at modeling how it impacts our system, how it analyzing the threats that we're seeing and our specific architecture or our specific security controls to better understand and identify failures or system weaknesses that we can apply what we call resilience action plans. And those could be a lot of different things, whether it's a technology, a new standard, looking at a redesign. Those are all potential outcomes, among others, that we can put in place. But we don't really stop there, because once it's in place, we want to test to make sure it's actually doing what we're hoping it does, and addressing that gap. So we look at leveraging our drills and exercises program to make sure that anything that we're putting in is also tested, and that kind of creates a loop for us, right? So going from collection of intelligence to understanding what the risk is, applying a mitigating or preventing action, and then evaluating whether that is sufficient or we need to go out and collect more information. So that's kind of our process internally. And on this, I was just going to take the opportunity to talk about a few examples. So we have seen a rise across the sector. There's actually public reporting on this from NERC and the EISAC related to domestic violent extremists and the targeting of critical infrastructure. We've seen similar targeting across our footprint. And so as we're collecting and seeing this information from a threat perspective, we started looking at what they were targeting and how they were targeting, and came up with some what we call design basis, right? And so looking at the design basis threat to understand what our exposure is and how that might affect our infrastructure. We ended up determining that adversaries are getting smarter at what they're targeting. And so we want to increase ballistic protection. And so we came up with some new policies to better protect certain pieces of critical infrastructure that we know are being targeted from a threat perspective, and have worked over the last year, year plus, implementing some of those new standards and enhancements for ballistics. We also started, again, starting in number one, we know that one of the first steps, whether you're looking at MITRE ATT&CK or diamond model or whatever, related to cybersecurity and how those actors are getting into your systems, they're targeting operational technology. They want to have a physical impact using a cyber mechanism. And so how do we monitor and increase our visibility of operational technology? Well, we have to partner with a technology vendor and increase our visibility through deployment of sensors in that network. So 2 years ago, partnering with government, we undertook a investment on sensors to increase our visibility in OT networks, and used our modeling and the analytical process to really understand the valuable, kind of what the industry generally calls crown jewels, or likely places that adversaries would be seen as they traverse a network, using their tactics, techniques, and procedures, and awareness of those things. So that started 2 years ago. We should be fully deployed at this time next year. So we're really excited about that, and have actually already exercised components of that and done some red teaming on that technology, and made some adjustments to our security controls. Also partnered with our vendor on that side in asking them to be a part of exercises. We know that that's an industry best practice. DOE identifies that as a best practice, and we also gain a lot of value out of doing that. So one of the opportunities to just kind of dig in a little bit more on the drills and exercises, NERC holds a biannual exercise called GridX. It just was concluded, I guess, 3 weeks ago now. So we participated. We had, I think we ended up counting about 5,500 people across our footprint that were involved in the exercise. It was a functional exercise for us. So there were trucks rolled to simulate actions and push ourselves to the brink and identify additional gaps or lessons learned that we can take. Real interesting outcomes there. As we see more complexity and more connections between the physical world and our infrastructure and kind of cyberspace, we are seeing an increasing value in adopting incident command system and the nomenclature that FEMA and the state governments use in order to talk about our cyber elements. And so we are taking that as one of our primary lessons learned and have already identified what's called ICS for ICS. So looking at potentially joining that next year and seeing how that could help us address that lesson learned from this year. We also participated in the Department of Energy's Liberty Eclipse exercise this year, which is a operational technology specific exercise held in the Northeast on Plum Island. Really great opportunity to understand how government can use red teaming to inform and test utilities at response to certain actions. Gained a lot of valuable experience. We never in a real situation respond to red teaming in an aggressive way like that. In a real world environment that they've arranged in an isolated Plum Island location. So real neat opportunity there. And out of that exercise, I think we just are understanding the complexities of incident response and the number of people that are going to be part of our effort to respond and recover. Certainly some challenges there, and looking at partnering with DOE on some R&D efforts that may create some tools and some situational awareness capabilities for the sector. So we're scoping some of that now, and hopefully that will go forward on that front. Finally, on our last content slide here, just illustrating the, I talked a lot about Department of Energy, but we have significant external engagements on federal and state sides of the equation, and really enjoy our partnerships and the value that we get from being part of this. So I'll just highlight one more opportunity on here, and that's the U.S. intelligence community. We're lucky enough to be a significant partner for them, not just in the Energy Threat Analysis Center, but on discrete analytical opportunities on how our adversaries are looking at our infrastructure and what we can do about it, and so it's the reason why I'm in DC today, and regularly is we get to partner with them and learn from them and educate them on how they can help us and how we can help them in a crisis situation. So just wanted to call that one out. And I know we have a lot more time, but I wanted to make sure to get to any of your interests and your questions. So just open the floor up if that's possible.
Thank you. We all appreciate the presentation, and I will just look to the hand raise function if anyone has questions, or if you're having trouble with the hand raise function, just jump in.
This is Dave Clark. I just wanted to express my appreciation for this presentation as well. It's impressive, and I particularly liked hearing about the self-assessments that you do, the testing, and also the partners that you've described that you're working with to both assist and you, and also expand your awareness of potential threats. And so just thank you for the time today. I don't have any particular questions, but I appreciate your explanations. And of course, we don't want you to ever share anything with us that would be useful to enemies. And so I recognize this is sort of high level, but it's I appreciate the impressive structure that exists and that you're managing and using to execute your strategy for protecting the various systems that you're responsible for, and especially the ones here in Utah.
I really appreciate that, and hopefully providing a few examples of how we implement our process gave you some insight into the seriousness and the culture that we have here at Rocky Mountain Power to enable us to do some of these things. Everybody thinks of security first, and that's a critical component to keeping our business safe and the power that we deliver to you safe.
Yeah. And also the ability to recover quickly. That's and so I appreciate hearing about your efforts there as well.
Yeah, I mean, if we're able to identify it through our process of really deeply understanding the threats and then analyzing how those threats can impact us, I'd much rather us find it than an adversary, right? So we take that very seriously. So appreciate your comment.
This is John Harvey. Just I guess kind of an observation and just kind of see how you respond to it. In thinking about cybersecurity, I tend to think of there's the run-of-the-mill stuff like you would get in email that's kind of targeting personal information. They're trying to do stuff. Then there's an enterprise level where they might be trying to, lock up something and demanding a ransom. And then there's an even higher level where they're trying to actually do more of a terrorist level. They're trying to shut down a system. And based on what you said in the presentation, I think you're sort of trying to address all of those. And so I guess my only real question is, is there an awareness of sort of all of those different levels? And that's part of the reason why you're partnering with so many different people, is they're kind of hitting different levels?
Yeah, that's a great question. So thank you. And so the way that we kind of think about it is, nation states or countries, and then criminals, and then hacktivists, and then somebody in their basement. And whenever we identify a threat, we'll try to identify who can actually accomplish that threat. Which of those four groups is it easy, and can it be done by somebody in their basement? That might raise the priority of addressing it, right? But is it impactful, right? Which, a lot of times the people that we're partnering with from the intelligence community are really focused on other countries and their interest in gaining footholds within critical infrastructure. And so our partnerships definitely cover the gamut from basement, hacktivist, criminal, nation state. But I would say most of those efforts, with the FBI or the intelligence community, or even at the state level, are really focused on criminals and nation states. But we spend a lot of time running simulations on the kind of bottom two sophisticated actors in that kind of cyber adversary profile as well.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Yvonne Hobel. I'm just wondering if you can talk a little bit more about how you leverage for vendor risk management. What are the kinds of things that you do in order to, secure Rocky Mountain Power's Pacific Berkshire Hathaway Energy's system to sort of protect, any kind of threat through your vendors?
So I had a little bit of a hard time hearing the question. Let me just repeat it to make sure I'm getting it right. If not, please correct me. So you're asking about incident response and why we partner with vendors in conducting some of our exercises. Is that correct? Jana, were you able to hear better? Somebody confirm.
Okay, can you hear me better now?
Oh yeah, I can. Thank you.
Okay, good. I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit more about how you leverage for vendor risk management.
Oh.
I'm not sure I heard. I may have missed it, but I think it would be nice to hear about. It would be good and useful to hear about the ways, some examples that you do that with.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you, and apologies for my mishearing the first time. So as we go through a normal procurement process, we're going to apply risk assessments to each vendor in the process. They'll get scored in a way based on the risk that they pose from a security perspective, and that goes into our overall decision-making elements, and might actually even disqualify certain vendors if the risk isn't able to be managed appropriately with available designs or technology or security controls that we would generally put in place. Now, we don't apply this for all things, right? So we take a risk-based approach. I'm not going to spend 30 days assessing some vendor that's supplying us with paper. But certainly, if we're talking about a firewall or a server or programmable logic controller, we're gonna take some time and really give that to our Intel team and identify any history that the company has with vulnerabilities, any ties that they have with known adversaries to the U.S. government, and peel back some of the elements of the device to understand if there's things that we didn't ask for. So really kind of almost a quality assurance aspect to it, that we want to know what that device is capable of that we didn't put in our spec, but it comes standard in the piece of equipment, so that we can control for that in our security architecture overall in the stack. And so that assessment process, like I said, risk-based. So we don't do it for every vendor, but certainly kind of tier 2, 3, and 4 vendors that are more integral to the services that we provide, the business continuity aspects that we need in order to maintain operations, even more critical, like our communications vendors, those types of things. Those go through a pretty lengthy analytical process.
Okay, thank you.
Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Hello, hi. My name is Daniel Mealy. I'm actually a cyber threat intelligence analyst with the Utah State Fusion Center, the Utah Information and Analysis Center, the SIAC, Statewide Information Analysis Center, also a partner of the Utah Cyber Center, located at the Taylorsville Government Building. And thank you for putting this together. We'd really like to connect with you and your groups and talk more about it, because obviously you are one of our critical infrastructure partners.
Yeah.
And we'd really like to connect so we can start sharing a bit more intelligence. We actually have a very controlled intelligence meeting every month, where we meet with several other partners from the federal level to state level to law enforcement to other critical infrastructure. Mm-hmm. Let's, if you don't mind, sorry everyone capitalizing on this time, but connect after this call, if that's right.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do that, Daniel. We rarely get a state or federal collaborative opportunity that we don't like. So yeah, happy to connect.
I just feel like we're two different fishing boats that are catching the same thing, So it's like really get on the same page. I think we'd help each other a whole lot.
Yeah, happy to do it, and hopefully it'll be mutually beneficial for you.
Thanks for speaking up, Daniel. This is Chris Parker. I'm the director at the Division of Public Utilities. And one of the reasons we invited SIAC on this call, I serve as chair for the state's Grid Resilience Committee. And we've had briefings from SIAC, and Rocky Mountain Power participates, different personnel on that committee. And we thought it would be good to make sure that an invitation went out to Division of Emergency Management and to SIAC for these briefings as they occur, so that they could kind of connect that all up. So I appreciate that, Daniel.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Gianna, correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't Kurt Mansfield sit on one of the cyber positions in Utah?
I don't know.
I actually do know that.
Hi.
He does.
Okay.
He does.
He does,
Thanks, Yvonne.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mallory, is he on the Cybersecurity Commission?
Yeah, so he sits on the Utah Cybersecurity Commission, and he is a rep for you all. So
yeah.
We're all learning stuff today.
we ply him with information ahead of those meetings to make sure that he's a valuable partner for you guys. But that doesn't mean that we can't connect in other ways, Daniel. And I'm happy to have that conversation and make sure that we're fully integrated with what you're doing and provide any value that we can.
Absolutely. Yeah, super glad that we were invited to this, Chris. Thank you. Yeah, I think we'll have a lot of fruitful conversations in the future.
Well, we can give a moment or two to look for any other questions. I'm not seeing any other hands raised in the Google Meet. If you have another question, do that or just jump in. Otherwise, I'll just express appreciation to everyone who participated today. These are good briefings, an opportunity for us to discuss, at least on the publicly available side, the efforts that are being done to protect cybersecurity interests that implicate, utility service throughout the state. And so, thank you to everyone who participated and those who listened without verbally participating. This was a useful meeting, and we look forward to the next one. Is there anything else from anyone before we close?
If Daniel, if you want, this is Janice Tab. I coordinate, and I can send you. I can send you the Jeff's information, so you can connect with him.
That would be incredible. Yeah, I was just trying to figure out how to do this. I was like, what's the most tactful way?
Yeah. Yes.
I haven't asked for somebody's number in a very long time, so
I will track you down. I will track you down and give you that contact information.
That would be awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Well, thanks so much for the time. Really appreciate the opportunity. And, like I said, please reach out if you think of other questions a day, a month, a year from now. I'm always available and happy to engage, and we'll try to answer your question the best we can.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you to everyone.
Everybody.
Bye.
Thank you, Jeff and Joe. Bye.
Bye.
Take care.